Hello and welcome to the Securosis Firestarter for May 22nd. Did I guess right? Anyway, this is Rich Mogul. Joining me as always are Mike Rothman and Adrian Lane. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello.
Would somebody tell me what city I'm in, please?
No.
Because I'm not quite sure.
Welcome,
Yeah.
welcome to our world, man. You sit in your little cloistered farm up in north of Phoenix, and the dogs running around and the grapefruit trees, and it's good. It's good to get out to the world a little bit, Adrian. Well, welcome to the world. It's good to engage every so often.
Yeah, for those that don't know, let's just say Adrian has not historically traveled as much as Mike and I have, like weekly for us, and we're enjoying watching him suffer the way that we have for all these
Yeah, you
years.
bet. You bet.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys have probably noticed a couple of things before we get started. Our blogging has been down. The fire starters have been kind of, irregular, and it's just been a bit of a crazy summer. So, and well, wait, is
Summer
it
hasn't
summer?
even started yet.
Yeah, summer hasn't started. Um, Things have been nuts. All three of us have been traveling pretty much every week, and that's not changing anytime soon. I just closed another trip, so I'm now traveling every week for the next 2.5 months, something along those lines. Immediately 3 weeks of that's a family thing. But so we're doing our best to keep up and just keep an eye out. We'll still, the summaries and the insights might not be every week, but we'll get at least one of those up a week to kind of point you guys to what we think is the most interesting stuff out there. And hey, we still blog a lot more than pretty much anybody else left in the security world on the
And
internet. So
we offer our stuff for a pretty good price, so I'm not going to feel all that guilty a normal type of publishing schedule. But again, given I certainly have a couple of different research projects that are going to be spinning up pretty soon. So I do think there's going to be more activity on the blog. But just suffice it to say, obviously the good news is everybody is cybering all the things, and that means that kind of we are extraordinarily busy.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're even like having to hire some of our external writing friends to help us keep up with stuff. So, but enough of that. Speaking of travel, hey, you like that segue, guys?
That was good. That was
And
good.
all the time we're spending on airplanes,
Even better. Where
even
do you
better.
think this is going, guys? I'm so excited. Where do you think it's going?
It's been in the news lately. So this has been an ongoing story now. It started at RSA. So Chris Roberts, a security researcher, got yanked off a plane by United because he made a tweet about potentially hacking the plane and doing something bad. He meant it as a joke. I think I don't think anyone debates that piece of it, but it was taken pretty seriously. And then there's potential overreactions. And now the FBI is investigating him, and a bunch of his stuff was taken. And there's now a he said, she said that I'm reading about in USA Today. I mean, these are guys that we're used to seeing, at DEF CON and our events. Now it's on the, I don't know if it was on the front page because I don't read, physical newspapers anymore, but it was on the front of the web page. A hacker claims he took over plane or something along those lines. And, we're not going to talk about the ins and outs of this because when it gets down to it, okay, I'm going to throw the explicit tag on this one. We don't know shit, and nobody knows shit. Like the FBI doesn't know shit, and Roberts, okay, maybe he knows what he did, uh, but I don't know. I think this is one of those stories that A, the story's going nuts, and B, it kind of shows something we talk about a lot, which is the weird overreaction, he said, she said, one-upsmanship garbage of our industry.
I think part of it is our industry, but I think part of it is just this 24/7, and I won't even call it a media cycle because it's not media, right? It's people with an internet connection cycle. So it's a 24/7 people with internet connection cycle. So everybody's an authority, everybody has an opinion, everybody knows exactly what's happened, and as you said, Rich, nobody knows shit. Let's just be very clear about that, right? Nobody knows exactly what happened, and as our friend Wendy Nather, kind of wrote on her blog, if you did know, and if you do know, you're not talking, right? The FBI is doing this for a very specific purpose, and odds are it's about deterrence to other people. So whether they make an example of this guy, whatever they do, again, we don't know, but everybody thinks they know. And that's the challenge of engaging with a lot of the social media aspects, what we call the echo chamber. That's where it gets very dangerous, because you have a whole bunch of people who really have no idea what the hell they're talking about, kind of being out there saying they're an authority, and they're just not, right? So again, I mean, I think that we just have to kind of take a step back and go, are there things that are theoretically possible? Yes. Did they actually happen? We have no idea, right? Will they happen? We have no idea, right? Does that mean you don't get onto an airplane? Probably not, right? Because, you know, again, the folks that are scared of flying are the ones that don't understand statistics, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, about 1,000,000 times safer to get on a plane than it is to get in your car, right, to go down and fill up your gas tank. So everybody's getting all spun up about this stuff, and I can just, you know, and I need to just take a step back and laugh at it, because it's kind of asinine at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, oh, go ahead, Adrian.
I was just saying it is ultimate security theater. It's just hype. We don't
Well,
know what's going.
yeah, I mean, we don't know, but I don't think it is just security theater. There's a lot of issues playing out here. You know, one being that there may very well be vulnerabilities in aircraft systems. It would not surprise me in the slightest. There's been a lot of hints in that direction. And we're now seeing kind of this bureaucratic reaction that we see a lot, particularly with industry and certain parts of the government and law enforcement, which is the please disperse, nothing to see here kind of a situation. You know, the airlines don't want to admit anything for very obvious reasons. They don't know how to handle this stuff. They don't have a background in, you know, they're not like, you know, Google, Microsoft, and Apple and other companies have been dealing with vulnerabilities and disclosures and hackers for all these generations. They're just not prepared necessarily for these kinds of things, and they want to maintain the public calm because it's not like they're going to shut down the air system because there are some vulnerabilities and, you know, maybe with low likelihood of exploitability, we don't know, discovered there. So there's that, you know, the public needs to be assuaged. And look, I'm not going to get started on all the issues about, you know, our social and political screw-ups right now, and you know, placating the masses and all sorts of Orwellian stuff, which I think is probably a lot closer to true than I like to think about too much, because, you know, I've got my shiny toys to keep me happy, and you know, go away and vote the way we tell you to vote and all of that. So the other side of it is that, you know, look, I have tremendous respect for the FBI and for other law enforcement agencies, and I even applied to work there when I was younger and came real close to getting a job there. But there are certain kinds of reactions that they have, and this is potentially one of them. It's kind of if you hit somebody in the face and give them a black eye, and they're a shit ton bigger than you are, you better expect the hammer to come down one way or the other. And in these public kinds of situations, even though Chris Roberts has been warning people for years and talking about his research for a long time, and he felt it wasn't getting the attention, well, now it gets the attention, but it also brings certain consequences. Whether he went into those knowingly or not knowingly, I have no idea. But, you know, I do know the reaction of these kinds of agencies is they will make an example of you, and they're going to come down hard. We've had other friends of ours, it's public, Rob Graham and Dave Maynard were doing some work, and the FBI basically threatened them, even though that work was quite legitimate and exposed vulnerabilities that were there due to negligence on the behalf of a particular vendor. And I don't know how many of the details went public, and it's not my place to talk about that. But they got visits. They were threatened flat out, even though they weren't doing anything illegal. And that's two people we know. And look, one of them is prone to exaggeration at times, but the other is not. And if those guys are watching, they know they know the truth.
They know which one is which.
They know which one is which. Yeah, if only one of them said it, and it was a certain one of them, yeah, maybe I wouldn't believe it. But the other one, yeah. No, I'm pretty certain that it happened. And I know stuff like that's happened. You get those visits, you get those calls, you get those threats, and they'll use all those legal tools. And we've seen that happen again and again in different areas, particularly around technology. I think Rob Graham of Errata has, you know, kind of worded it best, which is, you know, we're seen as wizards, magicians, witches, whatever. And what we do is witchcraft to a lot of people, particularly those who work on the vulnerability research side. And there's a lack of understanding even among people that are supposed to understand this stuff, and that's going to generate certain kinds of responses. That's what we're seeing here. But in the end, we don't know if that's why they're doing it or not. Maybe there really aren't vulnerabilities, and they just want to make sure there aren't. Maybe there are vulnerabilities, and they're trying to cover it up. Maybe they're investigating him for real. Maybe he controlled the plane. Maybe he didn't. I don't know any of that. I can't make an intelligent decision. I can't come to any conclusions because I don't know. I don't have the information, and at least I'm willing to admit it. I don't know it. And a lot of what we see out there is, a lot of people spinning cycles and acting like they do know what's going on.
You bet. And I want to clarify one thing, Rich. You actually can, but you won't. And that is a very important nuance to understand, right? There are a whole bunch of people that shouldn't be talking about stuff, that shouldn't be acting authoritatively in terms of speculation and all this stuff, and acting like it's truth, right? They shouldn't, but they can, and they do, right? You won't. We won't, because we don't know. And I think that's kind of the whole way to sum the whole discussion up. We aren't going to get involved in this speculation because we don't have any insight that other folks don't have, and the people that do have the answers aren't going to talk. So we can spin back and forth, and this thing will live on and on. Our position is going to be pretty consistent. We don't know what we don't know, and that means we're not going to lie about it and say that we do. Right? We won't do that. There will be a lot of people that do. Ignore them because they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we were, Mike, you and I were raised in the Jewish culture, and it's all about questioning, and questioning is great, and questioning is good, and you should do it. But there's, the difference between questioning and the difference between acting as if you know something. And I know we're being somewhat generic here because we'd have to go through our feeds and pull out all the articles and the tweets and everything else. We just don't know. I don't know if something illegal was done. I don't know if something illegal was even possible. We don't, it's possible that, they're claiming that, screws were open on compartments underneath aircraft seats. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm fully willing to admit that. We're not coming across as, trying to come across in this particular, session is saying that we do know more than you do. We don't. We're just saying nobody else knows any more than we do either, except the people that do, and they're not talking, at least not publicly, because there's all sorts of legal implications for any of them. And we see this time and time again. I mean, the stuff about the Sony breach, God, don't even get me started on some of the numbnut stuff that some of the vendors are pushing with their threat intel, claiming attribution around stuff. They really don't have the evidence, but they just want the headlines. And so I think that also makes it worse. There's one thing about a bunch of people randomly speculating on Twitter for fun. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. On the other hand, when companies are trying to do this and get PR, and I start getting, emails about, could your plane? I think I did get an email about, could your plane be hacked or something like that from some, PR vendor or whatever. I'm like, fuck you. You don't know anything.
We just that's the real explicit tag.
Yeah, I gotta tell JT, our web guy, to mark this one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think we've beaten this one to death, but again, I think the real point is don't believe everything that you read, because as we're going to title this thing, you don't know shit, and we don't know shit about what's going on.
Yeah.
So don't make like you do.
And look, this is nothing new just for us. Look at all the stuff going on now. The Seymour Hersh article about the takedown of Bin Laden, and there's truths and half truths and untruths, and look, in cases like that, I mean, it's very good that people should question things. And I guess all I can say is focus. Don't do the ad hominem thing. Like we're seeing some of that on the Hersh thing, like people attacking him personally as opposed to like trying to dissect the facts and follow up on those. And it's press fighting other press. It's like a bunch of actors sitting around saying they could do it better, sort of a situation. But for the stuff that we're dealing with, what do we know? What do we don't know? How far can we get? And does that actually affect our, the kind of decisions we have to make in our life? Anything else? Get drunk, have fun, talk about it, but yeah, don't take it overly seriously. All right. Anything else, guys?
I think we all have places to be, right?
We all have a lot of places to be. Mine's in state for another 36 hours. So anyway, yeah. Ooh, reminds me I need to cancel lunch because I changed the flight. Oh, can I just say I'm very, very sad. Mike and I have a trip we're traveling to, and to a particular city, and coming up in the next few weeks. And we both, like, our meeting ended up getting pushed up, so we both moved our flights earlier. And instead of staying that extra night, and Jimmy Buffett's playing in town that night. And they announced it the day after we both changed our flights. And the change fees are high enough that I can't justify it. So sad.
CFO no likey change fee.
Yeah. So all right. Thanks, everyone. You guys have a great week, and we'll be back at some point.
At some point.
Yeah. See you.